on this computer. Cool. All right. So I'm going to start with the tiles. So just like cards, there are different suits. So there are 3 suits. There's a suit called cracks, bams, and dots. So I put
Cracks, bams, and dots.
cracks, bams, and dots. Give me a second.
I guess I'm going to have to take notes.
That's fine. So this is a very, very old set. The online set's not going to look exactly the same, but it's very similar. So right here, I have, can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so right there are all the cracks. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cracks.
Okay.
So they're basically like Chinese letters, and those are cracks. There are 4 of each of those. So there are 4 1 cracks, 4 2 cracks, 4 3 cracks. Okay, then we have bams, and it's short for bamboo.
Okay.
So they look like little baby bamboos. And you can see the 1 is a bird. It's always a bird. I have no idea why, but that's the thing that's the most confusing, is a 1 bam is a bird.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Yeah.
How do you tell the difference between a bam and a crack? I mean,
Okay.
I get the bamboo, but like the bird one.
So this is a 1 crack.
Okay.
Do you see it? 1 crack. And bam is a bird. And then these are dots. And dots look like dots.
Okay.
And
I thought I
so
get
1 dot, 1 dot, 2 dot, see it all to 9. So you have bams, dots, and cracks. You also have something called dragons. There are 3 kinds of dragons. There's a green dragon. This is super old, so it's faded, but you'll see it better on the on computer. There's the green dragon and the red dragon, and there's a white dragon, but the white dragon is also called a soap. I don't know why.
Nope.
Soap. That's what they call it on the computer. And it's also used as a 0 if you are going to go for something that you need a 0 for. So that's that. Then, and there are 4 of each.
Question, I'm sorry. Are the green and red dragons anything like a wild card or anything?
No,
Okay.
they're dragons.
Okay.
Just dragons.
So
And then
sort of like another suit.
What's that?
Another set of suits, almost dragons. Or are they just used in a different way than the cracks, bams, and dots?
They're used in a different way. They are related to a suit. So I was going to tell you this later, but that's fine. It's the red dragons go with the cracks. I'm not talking about drugs. So I remember that because if you like crack your head, you bleed red. And so red dragon go with cracks. And the green dragons go with bamboo. They're both green. And they didn't even see it, so there. And the white dragons go with dots because it kind of looks like a dot. And that's just how I remember it. But so reds, cracks, greens, bamboo, and whites or soap, dots. Okay. 2 more kinds of tiles. The winds. North, south, east, and west. So they say northeast. They just have the letter N-E-W-S. And there are 4 of each of these. And the last, well, second to last are flowers. Now flowers are also really weird because they could look like pretty much anything. On my set, I have like a flower that's actually a man with flowers, and this one is just like pretty much anything that's squiggly is a flower, and they have numbers on them, but the numbers are irrelevant. The numbers are for a completely different game. There's like several different kinds of Mahjong game. In American Mahjong, you don't need the numbers on the flowers. So there are 8 flowers. And I think the Mahjong.com one, I think the flowers do have like a number 4 on them, maybe. But it, like I said, they're just flowers. And there are 8 flowers. And then there are 8 jokers. And in my set, it's just a red blotch. But in, yeah, nail polish, basically. And there are 8 of them. And on the Real Mahjong, they will actually just say the word joker on them. And so those are all of the tiles. There are 4 of each of every single tile except jokers and flowers. There are 8 of those. So that's that. That makes sense?
So far.
So far, so good. Okay, so then the next part is the card. If you have your card.
Oh yeah, that was really
Mine
good.
is 3 large pages. Oh, you did the same? So typically, hold on one second.
Yeah, I got in trouble because I didn't bother to print them all day until Brian was teaching, and of course the printer is in his office.
So really,
So I still printed them and opened the door, and he was like,
so when you get
I'm
a
in trouble.
card, when you get a card, it actually looks like this. This is a real card purchased. And this is what a real Mahjong card looks like. And this is the back of the card. So unfortunately, this is the 2019 card. The new ones come out in April. I bought one in April, but they're closed, so they never mailed it to me. So the Mahjong card that I emailed you was something someone sent to me. But this is normally what you get, and when you play, you keep it right in front of you, and then your stack goes in your Mahjong rack goes behind it. So when you play in real life. So now we just have these enormous pieces of paper, but that's okay. It's all good. My mother laughs at me when I'm playing because I'm like, okay. All right, so the way you play, and I'm gonna go through like how you play next, just read a card now, is you're gonna try to make your 13 tiles fit one of these patterns that you see on the card. And the colors on the card, they come in 3 colors, blue, green, and red. And those colors do not correlate with any one particular suit. The only thing that it's showing you is that it needs to be different. So the easiest thing to do is look on the bottom of the first page. It says any like numbers. And it has FF 111, 1111, 1, all ones. Do you see that?
Yep.
So there are green ones, red ones, and blue ones, and 2 Fs. So if you want to go for that one, you need 2 Fs, you need 2 flowers, and then you need 4 of one number. So let's say I'm going to choose the number 5 because it says any 3 suits. It's any numbers. So let's say I want 5s. I need 4 5 cracks, 4 5 dots, and 4 5 bams, and 2 flowers.
And that all makes up 13 there then.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
It'll end up being 14 tiles, but you only have 13 in your hand. So when you call Mahjong, it'll be your 14th tile.
Okay.
So, all right. So underneath that, it's 4 green ones and 2 green Ds. That's when it's important that your dragons match. So if let's say you're going for 2s, so you have 4 2 dots, you need the correlating dragons. So you need 2 soaps. And then your reds, you choose bams. So you need 4 2 bams. I said 2s. 4 2 bams, and your dragons have to be green. Does that make sense? Did I lose you?
No, I think I get it in concept. I think playing it, I would struggle at first.
So
Yeah.
I would like to go through this one again. So just the second one in this, so 2 flowers, and then let's say we're going for 2s, like you said.
Yeah.
So we need 4 2s of cracks, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. So
Okay.
the green, so that's what I was trying to like, they make this into 3 colors, but the 3 colors, like green doesn't mean BAMs, red doesn't mean crack, and blue doesn't mean dots. It means, it's just distinguishing one from another. So like on the bottom, you need 5 flowers. Then you need a pair, 3 of a kind, and 4 of a kind of the same number. So you could choose, your pair could be cracks, your 3 of a kind could be BAMs, and your 4 of a kind would be dots, whatever's left over. So blue, red, green doesn't matter. They just have to be different. So
But
it's,
how did you, I'm sorry, and then Connor was talking to me, so I probably missed it again, but the dragons,
yeah.
you can pick any 2 dragons, but they need to match somehow with the number that you chose that's also green. Like, because they're both green, they need to be similar in some way.
So the that needs to cool fully before you cut into it. So the reason the fact that it's green on the paper doesn't mean it has to be a green dragon.
Right.
It's green on the paper because the ones are green, and so if you make the ones dots, and they don't have to be ones, but let's say they're 1 dots, your dragons have to match that. So your dragons have to be soaps.
White one.
Soaps or
The
white
white ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you need 2 different dragons to match the next set. That make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so go above that, 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is how this card's divided. It's basically numbers. You have 2, 4, 6, 8 grouping. You have the 3, 6, 9, the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So the 2, 4, 6, 8. This is when it becomes, when you could see clearly what it means to have the colors. My colors are totally faded, but unlike any like numbers where you get to choose the numbers, on 2, 4, 6, 8, you can't choose the numbers. You have to use these numbers. But what you can choose is the suit. So on the top, you have 4 flowers, 1, 2, 2 4s, 3 6s, and 4 8s in any suit you want.
Okay.
So if you want to do all BAMs, all dots, all cracks, it doesn't matter, but they do have to be all the same. And you know that it has to be all the same because they're all 1 color on the top. And underneath that, you have 2 2s and 2 4s in green. So those have to match suit. So you could do BAMs, say. So I have 2 BAMs, 2 4 BAMs. Then you have to choose 6s and 8s in a different suit. So it can't be BAMs. So let's make it cracks. So you have 3 6 cracks, 3 8 cracks. And now your dragon would have to be white dragons.
Right, a 3rd suit.
Because you'd use the BAMs and the cracks.
Okay.
We lost Lauren. Does that make sense so far?
It does. Yeah. I'm less intimidated by this now. It baffles me that there's probably people in this world that don't have to look at this.
Oh, everyone I play with doesn't look at the cards. And I look like this. In fact, Jesse even knows the card by heart. But just a little something.
Sorry, Connor's dinner just got here because I did not cook tonight.
Good for you.
What's that?
I said Connor's dinner just got here because I didn't cook tonight. And
Oh.
I also forgot to order his dinner like he asked me to, so it's just getting here. So that was the commotion.
Okay, so that's kind of all the same. And I mean, you could see there's just like different combinations. And this is like last year's card has the same 2, 4, 6, 8, but they're different combinations, but it's similar.
Why
They're
do they
always
change
every year it's similar. Every April they sell a brand new card and you get the new card. So I'm going to skip the 2020 right now and go to the next one, which are quints. So in quints, for quints you have to have jokers because there are only 4 of a kind. So you can actually get the 5 flowers by yourself, and 4 dragons. It could be any dragons. It doesn't make a difference. And then you need 5 of a kind, so you have to use a joker. Your dragon and your numbers need to be different suits. And then these are all pretty hard to get. And you know that they're hard to get because if you look at their value, 40, 45, those are worth a lot more than almost all the others are worth 25. So they kind of rate them because it's kind of a gambling game too. So if you get a quint hand, you get more points for it. But that's an irrelevant part that the computer sorts for you, and you worry about that later. Okay, consecutive run. The only thing that you really need to know about the consecutive run is that they're any number. They're just showing, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it could be 4, 5, 6, 7. It could be any consecutive run except the first line. The first line next to it, it says these numbers only. So right under consecutive run, you could either do the low numbers or the high numbers, but you have to choose those numbers. After that, all of those could be any numbers. So if I look right in the middle, the ones that are all blue, 1s, 2s, and 3s, and dragons, it could be any 3 consecutive numbers, 6, 7, and 8, and the dragons have to correlate. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It's the same idea, but look at the one in the middle. There are 2 of them that look the same. 1s, 3s, 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 and 5s, and 5, 7, 7, 7s, and 9s. So basically, the 5s, 4 5s, 2 7s, and 4 9s are going to be all in the same suit, and then you need 2 7s from the other 2 suits. So that's pretty much how that works. And on the last page, winds and dragons. This is really the only place that you see the winds, northeast, southwest. If you end up with a bunch of dragons, you might want to choose the second hand, 2 flowers, 4 dragons, news, which is what they call 1 of each, wind, and 4 dragons, the red dragons. But it doesn't have to be the red dragons, even though it's showing green and red. If you have 4 white dragons, you can use those too. Now on the second to last one on there, it says 2020. For 2020, you take any pair of 2s, could be 2 dots, 2 bams, it doesn't matter, and 2 white dragons. So it's a pair of 2s and a pair of white dragons, or a pair of soaps, and that's a 20, which is also on the beginning, 2020. This is the thing that changes significantly every year. It's based on the year. So this year's 2020. Last year they did a 2019 one. This is last year's. 369 is just like all the other ones. And then singles and pairs, those are really hard to get, and that's why they're worth more points. They're worth 50 points. And they have C's. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about why some are worth more points and why they have C's. So if it has a C next to it, you're not allowed to take a tile that somebody throws out. So when we play, you pick a tile, you decide if you want it, you can put it in your hand or not, and you throw it out. If somebody wants it, they could take it and they have to show it. They have to open it up. If you have a hand that you're going for that has a C next to it, you're not allowed to pick that tile and show it. It C's for concealed, so you have to keep your tiles down. So that makes it really hard to get those. And the
You
other
can't
challenge,
steal other people's. You can't take their discards, basically.
exactly. If you have a C, you can't do that. And the other thing that's really hard and why some are worth more is if you, in my car. No, backseat. It's there. Is if you have a pair, two of anything, or a single, which is only in the bottom section, you can't use a joker. So you can only use a joker for 3 or more. So that's important because, oh, sorry. And if you have 2 under 3, you also can't choose that tile, even if you're not going for a concealed hand. So if I were doing this east, 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 twos, 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 and wests in the winds and dragons. So first, let me just say those twos, twos, twos are any even numbers. It says it next to it, I think. Yeah, any even numbers. So I'm going, say I'm going for 6s. I can't pick up a discard for those because they're pairs. So anything that's pairs or singles, I can't use jokers, and I can't pick up a discard unless it's for Mahjong. It's the only time they make that exception. You could throw out that you could use a discard for a pair, is if it's the very last tile. I think that's reading the whole card pretty much. Okay, so now for playing. Fortunately, on the computer, you don't need to do a lot of thinking. So if you were playing with real tiles, you wash all the tiles, you know, put them face down, you mix them up, and everybody builds a wall behind their own little stand, and then you push them out and everyone takes a bunch. But on the computer, you press a button and 13 tiles pop up on your screen. And then the way you pick a hand, you kind of look at your tiles and you say, you know, I have a lot of even numbers. So then you take 3 tiles that you don't like and you pass them, and it's called the Charleston. So they're going to say first right. I think you pass 3 to your right. Everybody does 3 to their right. And then you do 3 across. And then you do 3 to the left. And then you do 3 to the left, and 3 to the cross, 3 to the right. Basically, you do whatever the computer tells you to. They'll say 3 to the left, and you just pass them. In a home game, you'll have to learn how to do that, but this is a really great way to learn because you don't need to worry about that. And so you're going to get all your tiles that you need, and then you just start playing. And so I'm going to start a game here so you can see the way it looks. And I think you have 2. Okay, so are you able to see?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna start in, so if I wanted to find somebody, I would look in here. So sometimes I just look for my mother, and I've learned that there are far more Gladyses on here than anything else. Very common name on Mahjong. So she's not playing. So I'm just gonna do a new game, and I'm gonna choose, so the first thing that they ask you to do is choose the card that you're playing with. So you have the 2020 card.
Okay.
I have the 2019 here, but I'm gonna choose the 2020. And then the game speed, it doesn't really matter the game speed because you're playing a bunch of computers. And then I'm going to go into invisible mode so that nobody could find me or play with me because I don't want to play with anybody right now.
Oh,
Okay?
good. That's what I was going to ask, if you had to play with people, because.
Nope, you could practice here.
Oh, good.
So you sit there and you practice. All right, so I just got a bunch of tiles.
Uh-huh.
Can you see it well?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so I can't see it. So let's see, I have, the first thing I'm gonna do on this computer program is press these little arrows, this little arrow thing, and it will sort my tiles for me.
Okay, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so it sorts it. One way to sort it is by suit, and one way to sort it is in numerical order. And so it sorted it for me. So let's see if I could do this and show you at the same time. So I have one joker, which is good. I have a 2, 4, 7, 8, 8, 8, 9, 3, 5, 8, 9, a green dragon, and a south. So I kind of have a little bit of everything, but I kind of like that I have 2, 4, and 2 8s. I have a pair right away. So I'm gonna get rid of the 7. No, I'm gonna hold on to the 7. I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna hold on to the 7 because I also have a 7, 8, 8, and a 9. I'm gonna get rid of the 3, and a green dragon, and a south. I just basically threw it away. It said pass 3 tiles right. So I chose 3 tiles, I passed it, and across. It's telling me I now need to do 3 more tiles across. So I got in return, let's sort it again, do it again. I now have, looks like I'm getting a lot of cracks and some even numbers. I certainly don't need an east. I don't need a 1 bam. And I'm gonna get rid of the 5. And it says pass 3 tiles across. I press pass. First left. I got another 9. I got a flower. I learned that you're not supposed to pass flowers right now because they're used in so many hands that you don't want to get rid of them. But I guess the computer learned differently. That's fine. I'm just going to throw away 3 more. Second left. Now we're going to go around again.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's a lot. The Charleston is 3 to the left, 3 to the right, 3 across, 3 to the left, and then you do a second left, second across, second right. So that's what we're doing, and I'm just going to do this quickly because I have no idea what I'm doing. Across.
I'm walking away for a second, but I'm listening.
That's fine. I'm basically now just holding cracks. Last right. And now last right. What there's optional across. And if you want, you could do another one. And it says pass up to 3 tiles. Sometimes it says pass 3, and sometimes it says up to 3. If you have no idea what you're doing and you want to hold things for different reasons, you could just pass 1 or 2 or none. So I'm gonna pass those. So I have a 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 7, 9.
This is just.
Yeah, I don't know. So.
Looks like a great dinner, Brian. All right, Stacey, I've got a question though about passing the tiles. If it says up to 3,
yeah.
But if you're playing with other people, like not with a computer,
yeah,
how does that even out? Like I could see where the computer could just slide you another tile, but if I'm passing 2 and everybody else is passing 3, then somebody gets short one.
So
right?
It's only the person across to you, and it's the one who wants the fewest. And so if, like, I'm sitting, are these tiles backwards, by the way? Is my screen backwards? Is it backwards, or you read it the right way?
That's okay.
Okay.
We can pretend.
I could switch it. So if you're the person who wants, here we go. If you're the person that wants 2, or you only want to pass 2, then the person across to you from you could only pass 2. They'll have to take 1 back.
Okay.
So it's the person who wants the fewest, and only the person across from you. So you sit, it's a 4-person game. 2 people sit across from each other. And if the person across the other 2 people, like let's say Lauren and I are sitting across from each other and we're both happy to switch 3, but you only want 2. So the person across from you has to only do 2.
Okay.
And that happens a lot. Somehow my mother never seems to want tiles, which is the most frustrating thing in the world. So right now my hand looks like this. I have a joker, a flower, a 2, 2 4s, a 5, 2 7s, 2 8s, 2 9s, a 1 bam, and a soap. So if I look at this hand, I like that I have 2 7s, 2 8s, and 2 9s. So I'm gonna go to the consecutive run. And I could do, on the consecutive run, I could do the 2 5s, 2 6s, 3 7s, 3 8s, 3 9s. I can try to go for that. Underneath that is the one with 4 flowers, and then it says 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Mm-hmm.
So the mirror image is screwing me up. So I could do that with just the 7s, the 8s, and the 9s. Under that, then there's one, I like this one. It has 4 Fs, 1 1, 2 2s, 3 3s, and 4 4s. Do you see that one?
Yep.
So I could do that with, if I had 1 6, then I have the 2 7s, 3 8s, and 4 9s. Now I wouldn't be able to call a 6 because it's a single. I'd have to pick it up myself. I also can't use a joker for it. So I'm just gonna start playing and see if this makes sense.
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah.
So when you're done passing and you have your, your hand, your beginning hand is kind of set, that's when you kind of look at these higher groupings and decide what you might be going for. Obviously you can change.
Yeah.
When you're doing a beginner, does the computer suggest anything to you? Like, oh, you might want to do 2 4 6 8, or are you just kind of having to stare at it?
You just keep practicing. So okay. I had no idea what I was doing when I just started just doing this one particular hand. But when I read it out loud, I was like 2 4 6, and I was like, I have a lot of even numbers. But what happened was I also had a 7, 8, and 9, so I held those. And when I started throwing things away, people they gave me another 7, another 8, and another 9. And I was like, all right, well, let's see that. I might not even use that. I don't know yet.
Okay.
But what I like about this is that there are a couple of options. There's the 4 6 8 option, but I don't have any 6s. So for me, I'm still a beginner. So I don't know the card by heart. And if I were to get a 6, like my mother or a pro would know exactly where that would fit in. I would then have to like take out my other piece of paper, and that's fine. You get better at it. So anyway, I now have 14 tiles. One person always ends up with 14. So I'm the first person. So my first move, I don't get to pick. I just have to throw away. And I'm going to throw away my 1 bam because it looks like nothing else on my thing. And I just slide it over, and then it announces what it is, which is useful because you learn the tiles really quickly. So I didn't need any of those things. This computer program.
See, but are the discards face up?
What's that?
I'm assuming the discards are face up. I can't really see them.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all face up, and you could see. So you might have a dead hand, which happens, and you can check to see that you do. You would have a dead hand if what you need is in a pair or a single. You can't use a joker for it. So if you need a pair of something and you've seen that 3 of them went out, well, then you can't win. But what you can do is try not to lose. If you know somebody needs something, you hold it, and at the end of the round, if all of these tiles, it says how many tiles are left here, 96. If all of those tiles are used, it's called a wall game, and everybody gets 10 points. So I often root for wall games because I suck. All right, so I just picked a 9 bam. I'm gonna throw that away.
9 bam, call.
So that person called it. Oh, good, I'm glad. So, shoot,
7 dot,
they did it too quickly.
4 dot,
All right, let me stop right there. So the person called a 9 bam. I do mirror image and now I'm going backwards. So the person called a 9 bam and put out 3 9 bams and 1 joker. That's what they did, but we missed it because it was so fast. So the person who went after them picked a tile and they had the 9 bam. And so they exchanged the joker. They exchanged a 9 bam. And so now they have a joker in their hand. I forgot to see which computer did it, but that happened quickly.
So wait,
All right.
when you say they called the 9 bam,
Yeah.
I was under the assumption that you didn't reveal any of your tiles until the very end.
So if your hand that you're playing on your card has a C next to it, then that's true. You're not allowed to do that. But if it has an X, a red X, that means you're allowed to call. So this computer number 1, wanted the 9 bam that was thrown out and called it, but he had to put it out. So they have to use it right away.
Oh, okay.
And so
That's
they
what I
put out 3 9 bams and 1 joker to make 4 9 bams. And this is when people in the know try to figure out which hand they're going for so they don't throw them more tiles. That's a level of Mahjong I'm not ready for yet. So I'm the person that will give you exactly what you need because I'm not paying attention. So
It's a lot to know.
right. So like I just picked a 6 bam. It's entirely possible that he would need a 6 bam because he could be going in the 3 6 9 section. Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna throw it
6
out.
bam,
Didn't
5
take it.
dot,
It doesn't mean he doesn't need it. It also could mean that he can't
5
take
bam.
it right now because he doesn't have jokers. I just picked a 5. So I'm gonna hold on to that. And I guess I'll throw out the soap. It doesn't look like
Soap.
anything.
1 bam, soap,
Thank you.
1 bam,
All right, pick again. 9 dot.
9 dot, 5 crack,
Okay, so now they
Can I ask a question real quick before we go on? I know the computer is reading it out to you. Is that something that in a normal, like an in-person game, you would have to call out, or is it just telling you? Okay.
For whatever reason, when you do play it in person, you do say out loud the tile that you're throwing out.
Okay.
So I don't know if you saw the computer. It's not actually my turn, but the computer paused for a second because they noticed, it's very handy, they noticed that I have 2 5 cracks and a joker, and someone just threw out a 5 crack. So they want to know before they go on, do you want that 5 crack? So the answer is I have no idea.
That's what you were wondering, Mary. Is it going to give you a hint?
Right.
It totally did give me a hint, and
But still, you don't know.
well, I am going to take it because everything that we were looking at seems like 5s were a good idea. But the question is, or not, I don't know. What do you think? Should I take it? I could do 5, 5 7s, 9s. I don't have any dragons. I could do, well, I don't have 1s or 3s either. I could do the consecutive runs, but I don't have any 6s. I don't know. I don't know if I want it. And the thing is, if I take it, I'm locking myself in. Like I
What
have
about the
to.
quints? Could you do, well, you don't have,
No, I can't do quints. This would make 3, and I have 1 joker. So I think I'm actually going to pass. And the thing is, if I call it, then I have to put it up top. And I could decide if I want to do the 3 or the 3 and a joker 4, but I can't change after that. I'm going to be stuck. If I choose 4 5s, I have to find a hand that will use 4 5s. I'm not allowed to make any changes. So I'm actually not going to take it. I'm just going to skip.
See,
And now
I'd be like, I want to know where I'm going, so give me those 4 5s, not commit.
yeah, I
But
do
I'm
that
sure
a
that's
lot.
not a good strategy.
No, I don't think it's that bad of a strategy. I just picked up another 7. So now I have 3 7s, 2 8s, and 2 9s. So it looks like I'm sort of leaning towards the 4 flowers, 1s, 2s, and 3s on consecutive run.
yeah, the second one down.
Yeah,
2 crack.
and I think I'm slowly committing to that.
3 bam.
I don't have flowers,
2
but
bam.
remember there are
Call.
8.
4 dot.
That person called the 2 bam.
Green.
I actually lost my turn. So there are 8 flowers, so I have a better chance of getting more flowers. And you see there what their flower looks like? It does have a 4 on it. I don't know why. That's the flower. Got it?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. It looks like a bunny. I don't know what it looks like.
I have to
Okay.
say, like, I could see myself getting obsessed with this game.
Yeah.
It's oh, I just picked a joker. Okay, so now I'm actually getting pretty close. I have 2 jokers and a flower, and this is all garbage. So I'm gonna throw out my
4
4.
crack.
When
2
somebody
dot.
calls something, they get the next turn. Okay, the computer just stopped again for me because not because they think I need a 2 dot, but because I have 2 jokers, which means technically I could take it. I don't want it. So every time I now have to hit skip. It's a good thing. It means I have jokers.
1 dot.
So every time I'm going to have to hit skip.
7 crack.
Oh, 7 crack. I would like that. So I'm going to hit call.
Call.
Now it's mine. I have to put it up top. I'm going to add my other 7 cracks. Now I have 4 of them up there.
And similar to Rummy in that you start kind of laying down your
4 crack.
It's similar to Rummy,
your little
only,
groups.
yeah. I mean,
8 bam.
there's a,
Call.
You're building up your hand.
Green.
right. There's another way to play
Flower.
this, an Asian style. And in the Asian style, you don't have a card. You are actually playing more of a rummy type thing. And they play it in like big gambling halls. It's
That's, I think,
fascinating.
example I saw.
What's that?
Oh, I just said that was the example I saw.
Oh, yeah. It's huge game, and more men play than women. All right, so they threw out a flower. I could take the flower, but I would have to use both of my jokers, which isn't necessarily bad, but also I wouldn't be able to pick up a 9 if somebody threw out the 9, because I have 2 9s, and if someone throws out a 9, I can't take it. I need to be able to put it, I need to put out 4. And so I have to decide now whether or not I want to gamble, take the flower and use my jokers, or wait, which I think I'm going to do because there are lots of flowers. So I don't know the right thing to do. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to skip that
North.
and then pick and hope I get a flower. I got a 2.
2 crack. Flower.
Ah, it's another flower. So that's 2 out. I'm going to skip that one also.
9 crack.
Oh, good. 9 crack. I need that. I'm going to call,
Call.
and I get to put out 1, 2, and I'm going to use one of my jokers. If I could figure that out. And I'm going to throw it a 5.
5 crack.
And
So
now
now
if
I-
somebody has a 9 crack, they could steal your joker, right?
Bam.
Exactly. When it's their turn. You can only do it when it's your turn. So someone's
7 bam.
thinking, which is weird because it's a computer. Pick. Right.
6 dot.
Even if
Call.
I get a 9 dot, I
5
could
bam.
take a 9 crack. I could take it. So this person just put out 2 jokers. I don't know how well you could see it.
Mm-hmm.
That's better.
So that person just put out 2 6 dots and 2 jokers. So if I pick out a 6 dot, I could take that, but I don't have one.
1 dot. Red. Red. 2 bam.
3 dot. I always look when I pick. I always look to see what's out and make sure I don't throw away a
3
joker.
dot. 3 crack. 4 crack. Flower.
Ugh. Now I can't take the flower, even though I need it, because that flower and my flower and a joker is not enough. I need 4 flowers. Oh, I got another flower. Okay, so now
5 crack.
I just need 1 flower.
8 bam. 6 bam.
I need 1
2
flower
crack.
or
Or
a
joker.
6 dot or a 9 crack, because I'll get a joker that way. And I didn't get any of those.
4 bam.
But I'm very
3
close.
bam.
It's very exciting.
4 dot. Sub.
6 crack. I don't need that.
6 crack. 8 crack. 1 crack. 1 bam.
Ugh.
Sub. 4 crack.
I don't know how exciting this is,
5
but
dot.
All right, I got a question next
1
time.
dot.
it's your turn.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the person to like the right of the screen, my right, like near the home button on your iPad, they
Yeah,
don't have anything out.
yeah.
So does that mean that either their hand really sucks, or are they saving, like maybe they're doing a big,
So all that means is that they didn't pick up any tiles that were thrown out. So it could mean that they're doing one of the concealed hands on
okay,
the, which includes the singles and pairs, or it could just mean that they either weren't able to or don't need any of the tiles
okay,
thrown out. All right, let's
thank
see.
you.
East.
East. 6 crack.
Oh, so
2
close.
dot. 2 dot.
Do they still put them into the building?
Shut up.
7 bam.
Oh,
West.
someone took one of those jokers.
Red.
That sound is somebody exchanging a
2
joker.
crack. 3 crack. 7 dot. 1 crack. North.
Ugh,
2 dot. 4 dot. 8 crack. East.
I heard that, Robin.
yeah, he likes
5
crack.
crack. 5 dot.
Gosh, help
7
me.
dot. 5 bam. South. West. 3 bam.
Ay,
3 dot.
so there are 11 tiles left. Somebody just took one of the jokers.
West. 1 crack.
I picked a joker. So now, dun, da, da. Hold on, fix that. This whole mirror image screws me up. Okay, so now I have everything I need. I'm not going to throw out anything. I'm going to hit the Mahjong button.
Do it.
Mahjong.
Yay! And then
Teacher.
woohoo! It tells me
I
that
know, that's what I've
got-
been thinking. You're definitely like the best teacher.
So I got 25 points. Like the hand that I was going for got 25 points. And then because I picked it myself, I didn't call it when somebody else, they double that. So they gave me 50.
Oh.
So you keep your point total, and that's it. That's the whole game. The best thing to do is just play. And
Does anybody else get any points, or is it
No.
just the winner?
nobody else gets points. Oh, that only happens in a wall game. So I think I played a month without getting any points at all.
Is it typical for it to go down to where there are only 5 tiles left or whatever?
Yeah.
Or does it sometimes? Okay.
Sometimes, sometimes you could do it like right away.
Somebody
Like,
gets lucky
in
and
Charleston, a lot of times people throw away their wins because there's really only one category you could use the wins, and so you're like, I don't need this, and someone's collecting them. That's usually how that happens. But yeah, I mean, there are small nuances. Like I said, you could, if somebody throws out the last tile, it's your mahjong and it's for a pair, then you're allowed to use that. There's just like little exceptions, but all the rules are also on the back of this card that I emailed to you separately.
Right.
Yeah, so those are printed on the back of the standard card. It's a little weird, but I think I've used the terms that you need to know to make it less weird, like Charleston. They don't use 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind. They use pairs, pongs, kongs, and quints and whatever, but that doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
so if you were gonna buy a card, just curiosity in case I get obsessed.
Yeah,
How much does it cost?
it's $8 for a regular card and $9 for a large print, which is what I get.
I'm all for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
how much
fun.
does the card change each year? Like, is it just
enough that you have to buy it. It's minor changes. Hold on, let me turn off this video. Why did they change it? Because